Chinese fighter jets and warships are simulating sealing off Taiwan on the third and last day of its military drills. The Joint Sword exercise is a show of force following a meeting between Taiwan's president and a senior US politician. Taipei has condemned the exercises and Washington has called for restraint, saying it is monitoring Beijing's action closely.
China is calling it Joint Sword, encircling the self-ruled island of Taiwan that it claims as its own. Taiwan says their air defense unit closely monitors the encroaching forces. Its officials say dozens of Chinese aircraft have crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait.
With no intention to escalate the situation, the ROC Armed Forces will uphold our sovereignty and maintain our national security in a composed, rational, and thoughtful manner. Meanwhile, our air defense units have remained on high alert.
The military exercises is a furious response by Beijing to Taiwan's president's visit to the United States. The United States had repeatedly called for China to show restraint. Now, in a show of force, the United States deployed a naval destroyer into waters claimed by Beijing, triggering more anger from China. Tensions are rising in the region, and the residents of Taipei and Shanghai have divided opinions on China's recent military exercises. Most common people probably aren't afraid, with the main reason being that everyone thinks that China will certainly not start a war, because they don't need to start a war. They can use other methods to pressure Taiwan. I think China's military drills are a very normal thing, because firstly, we need to show our attitude, and we also need to show our ability to react like this. China's military pressure on Taiwan has intensified in recent years. As to how far this latest show of force will go, Taipei and its de facto US ally can only guess.
Well, for more on that, we're now joined by DW correspondent William Yang, who joins us from Taipei. William, it's the third day of China's drills. What has this day brought so far?
So since this morning, we have seen dozens of Chinese fighter jets again entering Taiwan's air defense identification zone. And at least 35 of those have, in fact, crossed the center line of the Taiwan Strait. But what is, in fact, more concerning is the confirmation both by the Taiwanese Defense Ministry and also the Japanese Defense Ministry that China's aircraft carrier group, Shandong, has, in fact, participated in this military exercise from the Western Pacific. That is on the east side of Taiwan. And there are at least 80 landing and takeoff activities that has been successfully carried out. And what the experts are saying is that now that China can prove that they can carry out attacks potentially from the east side of Taiwan, there's no longer any safe zone for Taiwan to actually preserve its military capability. And also on this, at the same time, the east side of Taiwan is also the passage where it's necessary for the U.S. to use in order to come for a potential support for Taiwan. So that just means that I think right now China is trying to really sandwich Taiwan into from the west side using the military aircraft, and from the east side they're using their aircraft carrier group to really squeeze Taiwan and put more pressure on Taiwan.
Now, China has warned Taiwan that independence, Taiwanese independence that is, and peace are mutually exclusive. What does this tell us?
So as we know, this is basically Beijing doubling down on their objection to the current ruling party and their position of pro-Taiwan sovereignty. As we know, there are now about 9 months left until the next presidential election. And Beijing has basically cut off communication with Taipei since 2016 after the current President Tsai Ing-wen came to power. And now that she's about to step away from the podium after next May, Beijing is really trying to send a message to anyone that's trying to run in the presidential election that they don't support and approve anyone that supports Taiwan sovereignty and also views Taiwan as separate from China.
Do you think that tomorrow things will just go back to normal, or have these drills changed something fundamentally?
I think with this military exercise and the last one last August after former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited, these two exercises basically have imposed new normals around the Taiwan Strait. The last time it was just basically allowing China to more frequently sending their fighter jets across the Taiwan Strait and then not allowing Taiwan to really make any substantial pushback. And this time around, we saw that they are operating a lot more aggressively on the east side of Taiwan and really sandwiching Taiwan in a way that it's going to make it a lot harder for any kind of outside support, which means that a blockade in the future might in fact just going to be the right direction and the right strategy for China to really impose on a potential Taiwan invasion.
DW correspondent William Young there. Thank you very much, William.